In this demonstration, we're going to look at configuring a distribution point. Distribution point is somewhere we distribute software from. So what we've done here is we've come into our System Center Config Manager admin console. Next thing we want to do here is we actually just want to install a distribution point. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into our administration tab. On our administration tab, next thing we're going to do is come to site configuration, and under site configuration what we're going to do is go to server and site system roles. We'll then right click at this point, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a site system server. So we'll click on the button and wait for the wizard to pop up. In the wizard, the first thing we need to do here is select a server to use as a site system. We're going to use lonserve1. We'll also specify the site code. We're not going to bother specifying a fully qualified domain for this site to use on the internet because we're not using the internet. And what we're going to do down at the bottom here is we're just going to leave the default of use the site server's computer account to install the site system and select next. Not going to bother modifying anything on the proxy, so we'll select next. Then what we'll do is we are going to have this as a distribution point, so turn on tick box and select next. On the distribution point, what we're going to do here is install and configure IIS if required by Config Manager. And what we're also going to do is we're going to have a look down here. We're not going to bother modifying anything for the default of specify how the client computers communicate because we're using internal access only. I'm going to just create the self-signed certificate, but we will enable this distribution point for pre-staged content and select next. That brings us into the drive settings. So on the drive settings, we're not going to modify anything. We're just going to leave all of the defaults and select next. We're not going to use this as a pull distribution point, so we'll select next. We're not going to use it as anything for the pixi settings. We're not doing operating system deployment, so we'll select next. Same with the multicast, we'll select next. Again, we're not doing operating system deployments. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to validate all the content on a schedule, and this is just verifying the integrity of the packages on this distribution point. We could schedule the changes, so we can do a custom schedule, but I'll just leave the default of occurs every week. And we'll select next. Don't have any boundary groups defined. I'm not going to create any, so I'm not going to add any either. And allow failback source location for content. We'll leave the tick box turned on there as well. And we'll select next. Just on the summary page, we'll have a quick look through. We're happy with everything in the summary, so we'll select next. Shouldn't take too long for this to complete, and we'll select our close button. So now what we've done there is we've created our distribution point. Let's just have a look at the monitoring tab. So on the monitoring tab here, what we've got is we've got our distribution status. So if we just expand this up a little bit, so we can have a look at our content status. So as you can see, green's good, successful, and got a boot image on there, boot image x86, 64. If we have a look at the distribution point group status, we don't have any yet. And if we look at the distribution point configuration status, turns back our list. We've currently got an icon of an error at this point here. Just for purposes of this demonstration, that's not concerning me. But if this was out there in the real world, ideally I'd want me tick on there. So let's just click on lonserve1. So this gives us the fact that we do have some errors. So we've failed something here, but we've also got something in progress. I'm continuing this lab and this demonstration fairly quickly. We look at the details pane. What it'll do is it'll return back a set of information here. So the issue that we've got here is we've just currently failed to connect to the remote distribution point. So we can see exactly why we do have the problem. Let's just go back to administration. Let's just go for our distribution point just so we can see it in the list. Let's go for lonserve.datum.com, and what we're going to do at this point here is we'll just right click and we'll just have a look at some of the properties that we can set against distribution points. So as you can see, we've got quite a fair few tabs here. So we've got the general page here. So this is just the settings that are set up as part of creating that distribution point. We've got the pixi settings for operating system deployment potentially. We have our multicast settings again, potentially for operating system deployment. We have our group relationships. We haven't created any distribution point groups, but that would just be a collection of distribution points. If we have a look at the content here, so we've got our config manager client package here. We can see the size of it. We can see it's a package. Content validation, we did turn on the tick box to validate the content, make sure everything is actually integrity complete. We're not using boundary groups at this point, but as you can see, we can create and modify boundary groups. Just in our schedule tab here, we can control our network load during critical time periods by restricting when data can be sent to the destination. As you can see here, everything's turned on. Just in the case of the rate limits, so what we can do here is we can prevent Config Manager from consuming all available bandwidth as well. So at this point here, unlimited. We've got our pull distribution point if we're using it as a pull distribution point. So, and this is when there's content for them to download to source distribution points. And then just under the security tab, you can actually manage all of this. We're not going to bother modifying any of this, so we'll just select cancel. So now let's just create a distribution point group. So what we'll do is we'll come to distribution point groups, and then what we'll do is we'll right click and we'll create a group. And we're going to create this for all London distribution points. And we're going to call this London DPs. We're going to put it down as distribution points located in London. Then we need to add our members, so we select our add button. And what we want is we want both of these servers sitting in the group, so we'll select OK. And then we'll select OK. Now we've created this, let's just look at the properties. So we'll right click, have a look at the properties of the London DP. So on the general page, general information. If we come to collections at this point here, so we can specify collections that we want to associate with these distribution groups. So what we'll do is we'll select our add button. What we'll do is, in the case of our collections, what we're going to do here is we're just going to go for device collections. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go for all Windows 8.1 workstations and select OK. We've also got our content tab. So any content associated would show up in this list. We can see the members. And if we click on security, again, who can manage this. So we'll select OK at this point here. And that's the end of this demonstration of creating a distribution point. Thank you.